So who makes the world's fastest electric race bike? To find out, we're going to take a look at one of my favorite racing events, the Isle of Man TT0. If you're unfamiliar with the TT0, it is in my opinion the best road test of electric motorcycle technology, and it's bonkers. I love the Isle of Man because not only is it a dangerous high-speed race on old country roads, it's even dangerous for the spectators. If you're new here guys, I'm Max and I love futuristic motorcycle technology, and I do a video like this every single week. So give it a like, give it a subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you more juicy, futuristic, two-wheeled stuff. I'm gonna break this down into three sections, guys. Number one will be a brief history of the Isle of Man TT0. Number two will be who is the fastest team in the TT0, and number three will be what bikes do they ride. So number one, a brief history of the Isle of Man TT0. First off, the Isle of Man Tourist Trophy is a motorcycle racing event that's been happening for more than 100 years. It happens on the Isle of Man, which is a self-governed British island in the Irish Sea between Ireland and England. Once a year, they shut down roadways for this race. The track literally goes past people's front gardens, and it's tight, windy, bumpy, and deadly. And the TT0 is its electric cousin. The first zero emissions TT race was a one-lap demonstration dubbed the TTXGP, and that was held in 2009. In the subsequent year, 2010, we had the TT0. The reason I love this race class is the rate of improvement. Unlike internal combustion engines, which have been developed over more than 100 years, these bikes see tremendous lap improvements year on year. The lap speed record in 2010 was just over 96 miles an hour. By 2019, the lap record was 121 miles an hour. That's more than 5 times the increase that the 1000cc senior class saw in the same period of time. Not to mention, have a listen to this. So futuristic, high-speed racing on a deadly track. This is literally the real-life version of pod racing. Number two, who is the fastest team? This team has won the TT0 for 6 consecutive years, and for 4 of those years, they even took out second place. The team I'm talking about is Team Mugen. Now, if you're into automotive racing, you've probably heard the name Mugen before, and it was actually founded by the son of Seiichiro Honda, Hirotoshi Honda. And I'm sure I butchered those pronunciations. Hirotoshi. So while his old boy was making fast hatchbacks, posties, and super sports bikes, his son actually started his own engineering company, making his dad's creations go faster. While most of Mugen's race efforts have involved Honda in some way or another, Team Mugen at the TT0 is a 100% Mugen effort. Since their debut in 2012, Mugen have improved their average lap speed by 19 miles an hour. The current TT lap record was 121.91 miles an hour, set by Michael Rudder on a Mugen motorcycle. This is Rudder's 5th victory in the TT0. By the way, Mugen in Japanese means unlimited. The more you know. The bikes. So, what do they ride? In 2019, Mugen raced its 8th iteration race bike, the Mugen Shinden Hachi. Hachi meaning 8 in Japanese. Good at building race bike, but they could improve on names for sure. This machine is sexy. The bike weighs 250 kilograms, which is 50 kilograms heavier than the latest CBR 1000. It makes 120 kilowatts, which is roughly equivalent to 160 horsepower, and makes 210 newton meters of torque. For a bit of perspective, a 2020 CBR 1000 RRR only makes 113 newton meters at peak. So the bike is a bit heavier than your typical 1000cc road bike. However, it makes way more torque, and being an electric motor, that torque is immediate and linear. The bike also recorded top speeds faster than some of the bikes in the super sport category at 176 miles an hour down the straight, which is 283 kilometers an hour roughly. That's fast. So let's look at the electric bits. So the bike takes half an hour to charge, which is good for a range of 40 miles, which is about 64 kilometers, running at 120 miles an hour, which is nearly 200 kilometers an hour. And apparently it's good for 120 miles at average road speeds, so about 200 kilometers as well. So the range isn't that impressive, but the bike was built to do a 38-mile lap at the Isle of Man, which it does pretty damn quickly. So the electric motor is 150 kilowatt, 3-phase, oil-cooled brushless motor that can put out way more horsepower than the bike actually produces and is limited by the battery. The bike runs a 370 volt lithium ion battery, and that's about all the information there is on this battery because it's a key part of Mugen's intellectual property. The battery takes up this section here. The inverter and energy management system is underneath the battery on the underbelly of the bike. The inverter converts DC current from the battery to AC current needed by the motor. The motor is mounted behind the battery and inverter and in front of the rear wheel. And this is the best looking electric motor I've ever seen, so I'm glad they didn't cover it up with a bunch of fairings. Take a look at this thing. That is pretty damn slick. Like most electric sports bikes, there's no gearbox and no clutch. It's a direct drive from the motor to the rear wheel. Supposedly, this allows the rider to focus on his lines and speed without using up extra brain function thinking about clutch movements and gear selection. So there you have it, guys, the world's fastest electric race bike, the Mugen Shinden Hachi. I'm not talking about top speed here, we're just talking about getting around a track as fast as you can. This thing is wild. This is purely speculation, but I would love to see this technology make it into the hands of Honda, and I would love to see a road bike come out utilizing this technology because it's a pretty damn cool electric bike. But we'll see what happens. I also thought I'd just sign off with this as well. It's called the E-Rex prototype. It's something that Mugen and Honda have whipped up, and it is pretty damn rad. And it looks like they've put a little bit more effort into the name on this one. Look at that rib cage, that's sick. What a cool bike. If you enjoy futuristic motorcycle content, guys, hit subscribe, and I bring these videos out every week, so you'll be sure to be up to date on everything going on in the electric motorcycle world, or just what I've found that week that I think is cool. I'm Max, guys, this is Moto Futurism, and I'll see you guys in the future.